Hello, Too Much Woman. This is Mignon ILtchenko with the Too Much Woman channel, where we speak the truth that the world told us to bury. Today, I'm joined by a woman who doesn't tiptoe around healing. She actually kicks the damn door in. Coach Darling Joe is a trauma-informed truth teller who's been a guide for women who've been silenced, shamed, or taught to shrink. Today, we're going to be talking about sacred rage, reclaiming your voice, healing out loud, especially when the world has called you too much. This is fire. This is medicine. This is real. Let's dive in. Joe, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, good morning, Mignon. It's a pleasure. It's such a wonderful space to always be able to connect with another coach to talk about real issues that women are facing in today's world. So it's lovely to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Fantastic. Joe, shall we jump straight in here?
Yes,
Um,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So, what was the moment in your life that cracked you open where you decided, I cannot carry on living like this anymore?
So a couple of years ago, I was going through a lot of transition in my early 30s, as most women do. You know, a lot of us kind of really only move through transition, big transition in our 30s. And I was kind of struggling with the relationship I was in. I was kind of very unhappy. I was very unhappy in my job. And, at that time, instead of kind of leaning into healing, I was very much leaning into destruction.
Mm.
And I found myself connecting. I'd sort of, my partner and I had taken a break, and I was sort of on a rage, and I was just kind of, living my best life. And anyway, long story cut short, I connected with a person online, and we sort of hit it off. And this person happened to live in Mauritius and invited me to go visit them in Mauritius, and not thinking, not listening to my intuition, not doing any of those things. Just, I decided to go, and yeah, it turned into a very scary experience that almost kind of ended up with me getting murdered. But long story short, I managed to I managed to get out, and it was at that moment, I think, coming back, that I just realized that something had to change. This was the moment that I kind of realized that, if I do not kind of lean into myself and really start listening to the signs that are coming and my intuition, I
Mm.
am going to end up not on this planet anymore. And it was a huge wake up call for me that really kind of decided to crack into all the terrible habits that I was kind of doing at the time. And yeah, it was a pivotal turning point in my early 30s that really did shape the rest of my 30s. So glad to say that it actually did happen. It was quite a positive thing in the end.
Sure, it's quite a story.
Yeah, it might be a whole podcast for another time, but that was the short version. Yeah.
So, Joe, was there ever a time that you felt that you were too much for the people around you?
Absolutely. I mean, as you can see, I'm quite loud as it is. And, in my previous career, I was a sound engineer, and I used to basically do sound audio for TV commercials and radio. And back in the day, in the early, I'd say 2010, around World Cup, we used to sit with a lot of people in a room together, and that was sort of how you did jobs. And I remember starting out in my career, and people saying to me, "You are a lot," because I
Mm.
had a lot of energy, and
Mm.
I was just like, I was very excited, and I was always trying to inject entertainment and trying to be the whole sort of entertainer of the whole room.
Mm.
And I remember quite distinctly back then being told, "You are way too much. You need to take it down. Take that volume and just." But it's never really been one of my strong or PowerPoints to actually turn down my volume. And
Mm.
the older I've got, the louder I've actually turned up the volume. So it used to bug me when I was younger. Now it's just like when people say you too much, I say thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad you.
fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you for noticing. I'm a lot.
You want me to help you turn it up?
Yes, I'll show you how. I'll plug you
Ask
in.
me
Yeah,
how.
absolutely.
So,
Ah,
for the women who carry there's silence.
Mm,
Silence often becomes an ache,
mm,
and you become so familiar with that ache that you don't recognize it as an ache anymore.
absolutely.
How did, um, sorry, I'm just having a look at my notes.
No, all good.
How did your ache show up? I mean, you did explain to us what cracked you open, but what was your ache?
So I think definitely there's been an undertone of not good enough for a good portion of my life. I mean, I know this is a struggle that a lot of women have, not being good enough. And I think for so long that silent ache was just always there and it was completely mirrored back to me in just about every, circumstance that I had in my life. There was this mirror to just say, oh, there it is again. You're not good enough.
Mm,
So I think for so long I just carried that ache around in my heart and it really did take me down the wrong roads. It really did, encourage terrible situations that just reinforced my ache and belief of not being good enough. And I would say only in the last sort of 6, 7 years have I been able to actually go in and actively heal that not good enough so that
mm,
it no longer is the undercurrent to everything. Now I lead with power and intuition and love and faith and trust in myself, whereas
mm.
before I was very much leading with not good enough.
And that's going inside yourself and finding the truth. Is that correct?
Very much so. Yeah, very much connecting to my intuition, trusting in my heart and my head and my heart and my intuition that I'm very much aligned with, the life that I'm creating rather than pushing against a current that's not for me. I think so often as women, we have this need and this, especially if we are running with a narrative of not good enough, we go along the wrong route to try and solve that not good enough
Mm,
instead of just turning inward.
mm,
I did meditation training a couple of years ago, and that was one of the first things that really helped me sort of turn inward
mm,
and, allowing myself to sit in meditation and connect to my heart and connect to my intuition and really kind of ask the question, okay, what do I actually want here? How do I want to move forward? How do I actually want to lead with love instead of fear? And, when I started to sort of turn that mirror the other way, things really changed. Yeah, turning inward,
yeah.
100%.
It's interesting that you mention meditation because that's also a daily practice of mine. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I thought to myself, I'm meditating every day. I'm doing all the right things, but
Mhm.
I'm just not feeling it. And then when I had my crack, I realized that meditation is actually about feeling what you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's sitting in the fire and feeling. Actually, meditation softens you to feel, because that's why we're here, right? To feel, to be physically,
100%.
feel things. And I just
And
felt,
I mean,
mm,
oh, no, 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 sorry, please carry on.
no, no, go ahead.
No, and that's the thing, that softness that you talk about, that moment that cracked you open, so often when we feel those intense emotions and we have this moment of reckoning where we have to look at that self, we want to run away in the opposite direction, right?
Correct.
We just want
Yes.
to, do anything to solve the problem. And it is through meditation, and I'm sure, I don't know if your journey has been the same, but it very much helped me understand that this is not a moment to run, but it is a moment to sit and be with those feelings. Acknowledge that we're feeling, uncomfortable and unpleasant and be like, okay,
Yes.
let's sit with
I
it.
actually got goosebumps now.
Yeah. It really was a turning point for my healing journey. Meditation has been very much the core of everything I've done
Agreed.
from that point on. So
Agreed.
I'm glad to hear that you also meditate. It's been
Yeah.
a life changing practice for me too.
Joe, let's talk about sacred rage. What role did anger play in your healing?
So, anger, very, very sort of low frequency emotion, about 150 hertz. But what is fabulous about anger is that it is a tremendous driving force in changing your life. And when you channel anger to actually be a momentum rather than a point of distraction, it really changes everything. So for me, anger was very much a driving force. Every time I get to a point of anger, I know I've reached a growth boundary. Because often anger accompanies my frustration. They pretty much a hand-in-hand arrangement. And when I feel angry and frustrated, I know, okay, we're about to breach the boundary here. So I generally use anger as that driving force to just take me over the line, because I know on the other side of that growth, that comfort zone, that moment of frustration and anger is generally the lesson that I needed in order to pull me through. So very much anger I use as a pivotal kind of emotion to push me through the boundary
Mm.
of learning.
I don't know what your experience has been with it, but for me, I've always allowed myself to feel the anger instead of trying to suppress it. And I think very often women are told that it's not a ladylike to be angry. But if you actually experience the anger and you physically feel it in your body, it's actually so liberating.
100%. And suppressed anger is some of the most dangerous stuff available. When you suppress anger and push it down and push it down and push it down, it negatively impacts the body in such a terrible way.
Mm,
Like suppressed anger can show up as IBS, it can show up as stomach cramps, it can show up as colon problems,
mm,
or, so many stomach related illnesses.
mm,
Chronic illnesses actually come from suppressed anger. I mean, I think I read a study recently, a couple of months ago, that suppressed anger and suppressed anxiety are now becoming the number one cause of Crohn's disease. I mean, that's a really big, you know, discovery, because, as you said, women traditionally have never been able to express their anger. It's
mm,
unladylike
mm,
to do so,
mm, mm,
which is rubbish, because the more we actually express that emotion, especially the suppressed and the unsuppressed anger,
mm.
it really is. It's going to change everything in your life to actually just get it out so that you
Yes,
don't store it in your body.
exactly. Love it.
I love it too. I love it. It's so nice to just connect with other coaches that think and do things the same way as me. It's
Well,
refreshing.
my point of view is that any dis-ease is actually an energetic issue. It's an energetic block. And the quickest way to release an energetic block is to firstly feel it, allow yourself to
Mhm.
feel it, and let it express naturally. But,
Absolutely.
I know we've mentioned this before, but it is so easy to feel something and feel fear and then
Mhm.
distract yourself from actually feeling it.
Absolutely. Again, that knee-jerk reaction of
Yes.
run in the opposite direction is always available to you. It is always available.
So this might be a little bit of a personal question, but what radical truth did you have to admit to yourself?
So I think the radical truth that I had to admit to myself was that no one was coming to save me. I think for so many, I grew up with a single mom. We weren't affluent at all. Life was a struggle from very early on. And I think I always had this kind of notion or idea that someone was coming to save me.
Mm,
That was never going to be my life. I was never going to have to struggle and save myself. But I think that hard truth became very apparent with that event that cracked me open.
mm,
No one was coming to save me. And I think it was one of the truths that actually kind of shaped a lot of the journey going forward, is that I think the moment I accepted that, then everything else kind of opened up. Because if we spend so much time hoping and praying that someone's going to save us, we never really take the step forward to change anything in our lives. I think you inevitably just stay waiting in hope that someone is going to come and solve all your problems. And it's very rare that that actually happens. And if it does happen, The person that steps in to save those problems generally creates a whole lot of new problems
Correct. Yeah.
that you didn't even know you had. So,
I resonate with that very much so, Joe, because I had the same issue. You keep thinking that someone's going to save you, but a question that sort of has come up for me now is, where do we get that notion from? That we almost.
I think it's the Disney formula. I think it's the Disney formula. I think, I mean, this is at least for me. I don't know if you hold the same belief, but I think just from so early on, we're fed this idea that the prince on the white horse is coming.
Mm,
Whether it's a metaphorical person or an event, but it's coming to save you.
mm,
I don't know. I don't know if yours has been the same experience, but I think for me it's been the Disney formula from early on, just that
mhm,
constant reinforcement that don't worry, someone's coming,
mm, yeah.
and it's definitely that has not been my experience. I don't know about
Well,
yours.
when that actually sank in for me, it actually came as quite a shock, because now you're
Mm.
accountable and responsible for your own life and what's happening in it and around it. Through
100%,
it.
100%. And I remember reading in a book a couple of years ago, I think the best line I've ever read about realizing that no one's coming to save you is, "It's time to pick up the reins of your life. You are in charge of the horse that's charging." And
Mm.
when you realize that all it takes is picking up the reins, you've got it. That's it. You never look back after that, because then you charging the direction, so to speak.
Awesome. Okay, so Joe, what is healing out loud? What does that mean?
So I think healing out loud is always messy. I mean, I think this is also a preconceived notion that so many people have, is that healing needs to be this quiet, retreated journey that no one's allowed to see.
Mm,
And I'm very glad that there's been a huge rise in the creator economy, because it's brought a lot of the healers to the forefront, which
mm,
I think has been a long time coming. And healing is not meant to be retreated, in private behind closed doors. Healing is loud, it's often messy, and it's important that it lives on the outside of you and the experience that you're having, because I think that's what inevitably actually seals the deal
mm,
and really heals the wounds when we speak about it, when we open up about it, when we tell people about it, connect with other women who are struggling with their own healing journey, because it's not linear. It's very much, it's out in the open, very messy, and often that's when I find the best and biggest healing happens, is on the outside when it's being messy and quite loud, you
But
know?
if I have a look at my own experience, I think
Mm,
what would put a lot of women off from healing out loud is the fear of judgment.
mm,
I know that it was very scary for me to let myself be seen. I'm still working on that, every day, because it is a scary thing to allow yourself to be seen for who you actually are.
and that is the thing, Mignon, is that healing, is about being seen, and it is a journey, you know, getting comfortable with being seen, getting comfortable with letting go of judgment of others, letting go of the not good enough, letting
Mm.
go of the fact that you're going to be judged for whatever situation it is that you're healing. It's a journey.
I have
No
to
one is
I
saying
might
you
stop
have to.
crying.
Yeah, but it's so true, though. I
Mm,
think also, the journey of healing is a magnificent one, and it is filled with information.
mm,
And if you just allow yourself a moment to be like, okay, people are going to judge me.
mm,
Cool. Let them judge.
mm,
This is not their journey. This is not their path. This is mine. And I think that's when the biggest healing happens. These beliefs, like being judged or not good enough or fear of
mm,
failure, these are deep. These are deep. These often are childhood wounds, sometimes generational wounds that we actually inherit from our parents.
mm.
So these things take time to go over, and healing is not, yay, one day we wake up and yay, we healed.
Yeah,
That's never
journey.
what happens.
Mm,
The healing journey is long, it's ongoing and it's never really ending. It's changing, it's improving, and it's about taking the lessons and making them better as you go along so
Yes.
that you get stronger within your own journey, so that you can help others essentially.
I love the way you speak, Joe. Really, it's inspiring.
Thank thank you.
So, um, in your guidance for women, how do you help women who feel lost in shame or stuck in pain?
So, shame and pain are very, very powerful, charged emotions, and they come with a lot of complexities. But I think for me, it's about I use a lot of visualization to re-anchor women into confidence and their own power.
Mhm.
I think, shame and well, shame particularly is a result of lost confidence. And that lost confidence just, continuously being eroded over time.
Mm,
So pain is very different and very complex. Um, Pain has lots of physical reaction as well. So, generally with pain, you have to treat it in a slightly different way because you need to address it physically, emotionally, and spiritually in
mm,
three different ways. So for me, I use a lot of visualization to anchor women back into the empowered version of the thing they're not feeling. So if it is shame, I very much use visualization of confidence, and it's just doing it over and over and over again, visualizing yourself in this confident, powerful, inspired version of yourself.
mhm,
And then visualization to treat pain, as in treat physical pain, treat emotional pain, heal those wounds, like see it visually in your mind, going
mm,
into your body and healing those wounds.
mm,
And then very much using meditation and visualization to heal that spiritual wound of pain. Because often pain is, goes right through physical, mind, body, spirit.
mm,
So you have to heal the whole spectrum of it. So I generally use visualization just because I find it the most powerful technique
mm,
because these emotions are strong. Shame is very low frequency. So you have to use quite a powerful, opposite to shame to actually bring it out in the person and to heal that shame and heal the pain
okay.
of their journeys, at least.
Joe, how do you empower your clients to step into their prosperity era? Rather, so
So,
and I know you talk a lot about prosperity queen. Can you tell us a little
mm.
bit more about that?
Okay, so I love that I've stepped into a prosperity queen era. And, for me, it is just being your boldest, most out there, most confident self. It's about moving forward in the world without caring what anyone thinks about your journey and what you're doing. And I think this is where ultimate freedom lives for me. I mean, my highest value is freedom.
Mm,
So for me, being a prosperity queen means owning my freedom in every sense of the word. And, one of the things I absolutely love helping women do is to go all in on themselves. Tongue
mm,
twister, all in on themselves. Because so often we want to change our lives, but we only want to put in a toe into the water. And I'm sure, Mignon, you know as well as me, no great change ever happens unless you are 100% invested in the change. So
want it.
my kind of yeah, so my prosperity coaching is very much about go all in on yourself. What have you got to lose? We now live in a world where from my house, I can create an entire business from scratch and I can go out into the world. I can be messy, I can be loud, but you know what? This is my prosperity queen era. I am taking ownership and I'm taking the reins and I am going to gallop forward and I'm not going to worry about what's happening on the sidelines because women deserve to stand in their power. I mean, the more I see women rise through these spaces of healing, the more I'm just excited about it because it's so long overdue
Yes.
for women to just support each other, lift each other up, and just show the world that we can heal these big problems that are out there. We just haven't had the space to do it until now. That's very
So,
exciting.
Joe, that was awesome. I mean, and that is exactly how I'm feeling as well. And the more I do it, the more I want to do it. It sort of gains momentum, if that makes sense. And you
100%.
really start living into that prosperity queen feeling.
Yeah, it is. And it's a feeling that begins to rise. And that feeling is just being empowered. It's
Mm,
just, we all have a talent and a superpower and a skill that we need to share with the world. And the moment you know what that is and you start using it, that
mm.
purpose and passion just sort of, they sort of lock together. And then, it just feels right. And that's that
Goosebumps
kind of
again.
that
Goosebumps
that's that
again.
prosperity queen era, like, "I'm here and I'm not going away."
Joe, what does being a too much woman mean to you?
So, I think any woman that's, kind of out there just being loud and bold and refusing to go away about whether her message or her business or, I think she's labeled too much.
Mm,
And I think this is a very, again, very old world thing. And I think when I hear someone say that woman's too much, I think, good.
mm,
There we go. She's starting to make her path. And I think women need to become too much. I think we've been too little for too long. And we've just allowed everything to kind of overtake, how important we are in the healing space. I mean, even the healing space for years has been dominated by men.
mm,
And women are actually far intuitive healers. We are connected to our intuition, we're softer, we have emotional EQ intelligence, and all of these factors play a huge role in healing and helping other women lift themselves up because like it or not, women actually there are a lot, like, don't get me wrong, there are women in the kind of corporate space that do step on each other's heads. But I think what's so nice about the creator economy is that women are very much supporting one another and lifting each other up. And I mean, here's you, you reached out to me, and you wanted to build a relationship and a platform with me. And I think it's amazing. And I know that so many women are going to resonate with the bravery that it took even for you to step out of your comfort zone and
mm.
reach out to somebody you didn't really know that well to say, well, I'm here and I want to do this too. So well done. And it's amazing. And it's always so nice to be part of your journey too. And living your best and most queen era.
Thank you, Joe. So, shall we wrap up with some rapid fire questions? Are you ready?
Rapid fire. Let's go.
Here we
I've got the
go.
right hair for it. It's sort of quite flamey
Oh, I
today. So.
love your hair. Love your hair. And I know a couple of other women who would love your hair too. My daughter.
Yeah, don't let her see it because if she comes home with pink hair, you can't be mad. You can't be mad.
Exactly. Okay. One word to describe your healing journey.
I would say illuminating, just because every step of the way it's just been full of answers. It's just been these moments of like, oh, okay, wow. Okay. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And just being able to mine those moments and take out the lessons so that I can progress in the healing journey. So, and I'm so glad it's actually happened. Like the woman I am today versus the woman I was 15 years ago, there's just no comparison. So illuminating,
Fantastic.
definitely.
A lie you no longer believe.
That there's no ceiling. No, that I no longer believe that there is a ceiling, excuse
Mm,
me. So I grew up very much with the belief that you are limited by a ceiling. There
mm,
is only so much, so high you can go and you hit that ceiling and that's the kind of the full scale of your potential. So there is no ceiling.
mm.
And once you realize there is no ceiling, the potential is infinite.
Yeah, the sky
Jump as
is
high
not
as
the
you want.
limit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A truth that you live by now.
Trust your intuition always. It's never wrong.
Amen.
Um,
Amen.
yeah. Amen. If I had listened to that voice, that initial question that you asked me, if I had actually paid attention to my intuition, the signs were there from the beginning.
Mm.
All the warning signs were there. I just ignored them. I didn't want to hear them. I didn't want to pay attention to them. And it really went south. It really went bad. And, now I just listen. If I hear that voice and I hear that intuitive voice, whether I agree with it or not, it is
Mm.
always right. It has always got my best interest at heart, and it's
Mm.
always guiding me to the highest part of my journey. Trust your intuition.
Preach, sister. Preach.
Those little like hands.
Okay, last question, Joe. What's a message that you want every woman in the dark, still in the dark, to hear?
It's okay to step into the light. You don't have to live in the dark. And no matter how many people tell you that you need to do that, or you should do that, or that's the right thing to do, if you feel that you have that need, that inner want, that this is just, there's got to be more, step into the light. Step into the light and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, because the most incredible things can happen when you step out into the light and you do start being seen. I mean, you said earlier that one of the things, judgment has been a hard journey for you. And now that you're moving down the path, I mean, aren't you glad you stepped out into it?
Absolutely. But it takes a lot of courage, Joe. Make no mistake. It takes courage. But I
And
think you've got to hit that point where you can't breathe anymore. To
you do.
It's that pivot point.
It is very much. And, the courageous journey is one of the best healers. No incredible healer has
Mm.
gone onto this journey without it having to lean into that courage a little bit.
Mm.
So, like, well done. That's amazing. And I'm so excited to see how your journey turns out, because only incredible things can come from that. Because it's hard to be in the place that you can't breathe.
Mm.
And it's not a nice place to be.
Very
And
uncomfortable.
yeah, very unhealthy. And the more women that do step out into the journey, I'm telling you, it's going to get better and better and better.
Mm. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Joe. And
As you, Mignon, thank you so much.
if this conversation has stirred something in you, well, good. It means we've touched something that needed witnessing. Please do go and follow Coach Darling Joe for more of her raw, soul-bearing wisdom. And if you are on your own journey of reclaiming your voice, your softness, and your power, just know that you're not alone. Please drop us a comment in the box below and let us know how this landed for you. Also, remember to subscribe for more unfiltered conversations with women who are done dimming their light.